Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Team Chit Chat, a subsidiary of Team Chat Podcast, where I'm your host, Rachel Mogan, joined to my left. I really had to think about it for a second.
Which direction?
By Jerrett Wilson.
Hello. How's everyone going? I don't know if you noticed, but like the air kicked on or something, and the door behind us like creepily just opened
I
while
didn't
you were
notice
giving
that.
the
That's
intro.
very
so
spooky.
little bit of a little spooky there. Let me get that real quick
Yeah,
before
you shouldn't have pointed that out. Now it feels
I'm sorry.
haunted. Although I did start with kind of a haunted vibe to it, and it's
That's true. You were giving it the old NPR intro.
Well, it's very foggy and spooky outside right now.
It is.
So I'm just trying to match the vibe, right?
Did you-
It's dark, it's foggy, it's creepy.
And did you notice that like it feels colder? Like it's been in the 40s, 50s
But it feels cold.
But this week, the last couple days, has felt cold.
It's because it's damp out and it gets into your bones.
Yeah,
It's that
that's what it
British
is.
cold.
And there's no humidity right now, I guess, or like none mixed with the heat, really. So I guess you just feel it more. I don't
it's
know, but it's
unpleasant.
weird.
But that is neither here nor there.
Neither
Here
here nor
on
there.
Team Chit Chat, we're here to talk about anything but video games.
What are those?
And I have no idea what we're talking about today. Jarrett has come to us with a surprise topic, so let's hear it.
Well, on the last episode of Team Chat Podcast, our main show, I gave a little tease saying that I was going to be sharing the gospel, not the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, but instead, you could have probably guessed the gospel of Star Wars. In that,
Dang, I was hoping it might be anything else.
it's
I
going to
didn't
be
get so lucky.
relatively quick. It's going to be relatively quick, but I have to still come on here and stand on the soapbox for a little bit and talk about the recently finished show Skeleton Crew.
Oh, okay. Actually, I personally have no interest in Skeleton Crew, but I do think Jude Law is very handsome.
Yes, he is.
So I'm open to
That
this
holds up.
conversation just because in my brain I can fill in all the gaps with his handsome face.
But yes, that does hold up. Jude Law's handsomeness carries through and
Aging
shines
like a
through.
fine
He
wine.
is. That hairline still receding, but
Looks good.
Still looks good.
He's
He
rocking it.
actually can kind of. I think he is one of those few people who can rock the like seriously receded hairline.
He is pulling it off.
He can.
Yeah.
He can pull it off really well and does in this. But aside from Jude Law's handsomeness and attractiveness, Skeleton Crew is a fantastic show. And I know that even when it first came out and I first started talking about it, because of course, I was excited about it because it's Star Wars. And I knew that you necessarily weren't as jazzed about it. I know you enjoy Star Wars and you like the prequels, especially of the movies and the Clone
Love the
Wars and all that
prequels.
stuff. But Skeleton Crew.
Personally, Andor.
Season 2
Andor's the
coming
one
out in
that-
April.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god.
So excited.
April is a stacked month, dude.
Yeah.
For
yeah.
various media, not just for shows, but like, damn,
The
where am I
spring-
going to find the time?
Yeah, spring and early summer is a busy time of year.
All right, anyways.
So Skeleton Crew, though, because there was even the show that came out, I guess it was last year, Acolyte, or early 2024, I think is when that was. I don't remember the exact timing of that
God,
one.
I feel like it was late 2024. Was it not?
No, because that was Skeleton Crew. It might have been late
duh.
2023, I guess, maybe, but I could be off on the timing of that. But anyway, the Acolyte I also enjoyed. I thought it had some great action sequences that like really stood out. There were some fantastic fights in that. I thought they introduced some really strong characters, especially with like the Stranger and everything, and got some good hints and to tiebacks to other Star Wars events that we knew of. But it also was cool because it took place in the New High Republic era that was set like 100 years. I think this show was like 100 years before the Phantom Menace. But Skeleton Crew is set in the sequel era, or like kind of maybe more in that in-between time of Return of the Jedi to the sequels. Kind of around, I think actually more in the Mandalorian timeline of everything. But it's fun because while The Mandalorian and other Star Wars shows and kind of like Star Wars in general have been influenced by the Western, Skeleton Crew is different because it is influenced by the pirate movie.
Oh, that's fun.
It
okay.
is very fun.
A little
So-
bit of piracy in there.
Really, and because of like it does have a lot of practical effects in like practical costumes. Like one of the main characters, Neil, is like a little blue alien
I was
elephant
about to say,
looking
he's a
alien.
little his name is Neil.
Neil, N-E-E-L. It's not,
Oh my god, I'm
not
rolling
American
my
Neil.
eyes so hard.
But so like he is one of the main characters, and he's like a physical costume, and I'm sure they have maybe some CGI improvements and enhancements and stuff like that for some of his like facial features and like mouth and stuff like that. But for the most part, practical costume.
That's actually very cool. I did not know that. All of the, not even trailers, because honestly, I didn't even really watch the trailers. Yeah. I saw the odd ad, and I've seen what it looks like when I log into Disney Plus to navigate to Bob's Burgers. so that's how much exposure to Skeleton Crew I have. So I have to admit, I kind of assumed that entire character was CGI. So that's very cool information.
Yeah. Another practical costume character is this guy. Pirate Captain Brutus.
You have to beauty
there
YouTuber
you go, block
him.
him.
There we go.
He's like a Wolfman type alien. Like this full costume, practical effect.
Do you think that in canon, this character is actually the far, far, far flung descendant of the Werewolf of Paris?
Yes. Flew to space.
Yeah, flew to space.
Safe from all the silver bullets. Nobody could get him there. But yeah, so that adds like a very. I'm trying to figure out the best way to like sell this in a way, because I honestly don't feel like once you get started, if you started it, I don't think it would take much to get you into it.
Because of Jude Law's handsomeness?
That, but also it has a lighthearted spiritness to it and a sense of adventure that like you really haven't felt, I feel like, in a Star Wars movie in a long time. Like, yes, they always have that sense of adventure and like, oh, there's this big story going on and I get to be a part of it. But this like really taps back in, especially for me, that like childhood charm of like watching an action movie or something. Like, for instance, one of the first shots of one of the main kid characters, Wim. I guess you should explain what the show's about.
I was about to say, you skipped so far ahead.
I am going all over the place with this, and I'm sorry because I'm excited about it.
I mean, we have previously talked about it on
that's
Team
true,
Chat
but
briefly,
I guess not on this one, so
this
if
is
you're
the deep dive.
watching it and everything like that. But Skeleton Crew is about a group of 4 kids who are somehow get lost in space and are then rescued by a mysterious figure, Jude Law, and trying to get back home. Is that his name in the show? What, Jude Law?
Jude Law?
No, it's Jod Nanawood.
Okay.
Just Jod. Just go Jod.
Oh, what a terrible name. Okay.
Not my favorite, honestly. I agree with you on that. But anyway, so the whole time they are being pursued by a band of pirates and, just the various other dangers of the galaxy that they are at this moment unaware of, really. And so it's the sense of discovery that not only the kids are seeing this galaxy, this massive galaxy for the first time and everything. So you're seeing it through their eyes and that sense of wonder, but also like them learning to work together, become, overcome to be able to overcome their circumstances and situations to get back home and learn how to work together.
Teacher, I have many questions.
Yes.
1, do the children know each other before they get lost?
Yes, they're all like school.
So they're
school
pre-friends.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to like become new friends. Great.
Yep.
Is it clear from the get-go and or like confirm for me, is Jod a pirate himself?
Yes, he's a pirate. You see that from the
answer.
You do see that from like the trailers and stuff, so it's pretty easy. Yes, Jod is like a pirate, and you don't really know his background either or why he's necessarily going to join up with these kids. You do find out in the course of the show, obviously.
Do the children know he's a pirate, or do they just think like a nice dude rescued them?
Nice dude rescued.
Okay,
kind of
okay, gotcha.
So
I'm
it's
trying
kind of like
to
all
get the
learning how to like
atmosphere.
yeah. So it's all this like group of people not really understanding how to work together, learning to work together, and overcome this stuff. It's also fun and a nod to like pirate films of the past. There is a droid because, like, obviously Star Wars, you got to have that like snarky droid and everything like that, or fun droid character. This one is SM-33. If you say that, it's Smee.
Oh my god, that's actually very funny.
Right?
Now that's a good name.
It's really
Jad is a bad name. Jod's a bad name. Smee for a robot is a hilarious name.
Yeah. So I mean, they always call him SM-33, but it's like it's the in joke for like people who look at it. You're like, oh my god, what a wonderful like pirate tie.
Did Jod rescue the children with the intent of selling them?
It's more of like he has his own thing, and it's kind of like
Is it like a comedy of errors that he comes across the children?
Kind of like that, and also them just like they have different goals and paths they're trying to achieve, but they have to work together to get there, kind of a thing. And so it's it's fun like this because the kids like are rambunctious and just try and like obviously also like totally naive to the galaxy at large. And so it's just this quest to get back to their homeworld, which is, again, not necessarily a big spoiler thing, but it's for some reason hidden from the galaxy. Like, so really they kind of pop out and they're like, hey, we need to get back home. And people are like, well, where's your home? And they're like, oh, it's this planet At-Aten. And they're like, what?
Where now?
Like, that's not supposed to be a place you can go to or come from. Like, what do you mean?
Gotcha.
So it kind of sets off this huge adventure, because obviously the pirates get word there could be things they want to get there, and so it sets off this big like treasure hunt basically. And so it's really cool because this show honestly blends and feels like Star Wars meets Goonies and Treasure Island.
Ooh, specifically Treasure Planet?
You could say specifically Treasure Planet because of the space influence.
Yeah.
So it just like, I don't know why. It really does feel like those kid adventure movies of our childhood. It feels like E.T. It feels like the Goonies and stuff like that. And that same sense of charm and just like, oh, this is just fun to watch. Whimsy, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is fun. One of the main characters, Whim. So that's what I was saying, is it sets off and it kind of like sets up that childhood like, oh man, these kids are just like us, because it shows him playing with like action figures of like Jedi or like
cute.
and like soldiers and stuff like that. And you're like, oh wow, he's playing with Star Wars figures.
Does he
I
have
play like Star Wars
Darth
figures.
Maul in one hand and Qui-Gon?
Well, no, they're like
He's
unnamed. They're just
reenacting the
that would be
tragic moment of
hilarious.
Qui-Gon's
with
death.
the pop apart action of Maul.
That would be awesome.
But I just really think the show, I'm not going to go through and like explain every plot point of it, but it's the thing of like, it came out at the end of the year. The end of the year is obviously a busier time for everyone. And I know that its viewership dropped wasn't as strong as other Star Wars shows in the past have been. And it's nice too, because the show does end in a really strong note. I really like the ending. The last episode before the end, penultimate episode, I guess, had some moments in it that I was like, damn, this is good Star Wars, and some really great action in it. And I don't know, it just felt like a fun Star Wars adventure and had that like lightheartedness to it that but then still handled the seriousness of the story at times in a way that I felt like had been kind of missing, because from Star Wars, like the Acolyte didn't feel that way. The Acolyte was fun, but like it did have some stuff that I was not the biggest fan of. But like I said, the action in some parts of it like still made it like, oh yeah, this is really cool. This one, the Skeleton Crew, like it didn't miss. I loved every part of it. I thought it was great. Music's fantastic. It's actually fun because it's composed by the son of Michael Giacchino, who's the composer for like Ratatouille and a lot of Pixar movies. But it's his son. Did I say it wrong? Giacchino? I don't think I'm saying it right.
Giacchino.
But anyway, it's his son, Mick Giacchino, who does the soundtrack for that. It's fantastic. It has some great themes in there as well. Visuals are great. And again, it also has a huge focus back on the practical effects and costumes, which I think really give that like especially retro, like OG Star Wars feel to it too. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. I really do think it's 8 episodes. It ties up well in a way that I think if it doesn't get a second season, this was still a completely great story.
Good to know. Very important.
And if it does get a second season, cool. Can't wait to see where it goes. So I think it's a fantastic show. Obviously, Star Wars. I know I'm a little biased, but still, give Skeleton Crew a shot. It's fantastic Star Wars. You won't be sorry.
Do all of the children's parents get killed in the penultimate episode, and then in the final episode, Jad officially adopts all of them?
How did you guess?
Damn I
you're
never
too good.
miss.
You're too good
I
at
just
this.
assume. Smee is their mom. Jad is their dad.
Happy family all
Happy
around.
family.
But no, great cast. The kid actors, all of them are great. Like
you would think that, yeah, I'm pretty sure Star Wars was like they learned their lesson back in the day.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's and not even just like there's like this one's particularly is not as good as the others. They're all great. They were all had fantastic performances, and yeah, the kid who plays Neil is really good.
I was about to say, is it actually a child playing Neil? Wow.
So
dang.
yeah, it's like the show does a lot of really really good things, and I think that needs to be appreciated.
That's
so
actually,
people need to go watch it.
And that's actually a pretty heavy lift on the part of a child actor, because you got to imagine that poor kid was spending way more time in the effects chair.
Yeah.
It probably took a long time to get him ready.
Yeah.
To get him ready.
Yeah,
every
he
day.
has like gloves and like like to have his his alien hands.
They probably
and
had
stuff
to
like
glue
that.
stuff onto him with the safe glue, not the Elmer's.
But it's really fun. It has some it even has in like the very first episode a Easter egg from the Star Wars holiday special, the 76 that special that was horribly panned as being terrible. I've even watched parts of it and been like, oh my god, this is rough. And they had a really cool Easter eggs to that. So there's a lot of nods to various things of the franchise as usual, but it's not hitting you over the head with fan service stuff. It's great. It's so good.
Does
Watch Skeleton Crew.
Jude Law get a nude scene? Full frontal.
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, damn. I'm out.
Nope, that's Nosferatu.
Okay, well, God, against our will. But I didn't realize it had such an emphasis on practical effects. That is actually quite a selling point for me, so I'm not making any promises, but I'm at least more interested than
And that
I was
my
before.
goal, and that was my intent, to spread the gospel of Skeleton Crew.
Well, congratulations. You done it. And that is another episode of Team Chit Chat. Jarrett, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton.
And if it ever gets a sequel, we will be back once again to continue talking about it.
So
and
I'll
if
be
it
watching
goes
day one.
down the toilet, well, we'll let you know with our honest thoughts. Until next time, adios.
See ya.